Hey everyone, today I'm studying Psalm number 71, and this is the book. And Psalm 71 appears to be a continuation of Psalm 70 in that it starts with Becha Adonai Chasiti, I have taken refuge in you, O God, whereas the other Psalms begin with Mizmor LeDavid, a psalm by David. So the beginning is different, and the previous psalm was very short, so this psalm seems to be a continuation of the previous one, and a lot of the same themes. So it has to do with David speaking about his enemy's desire to kill him, and in this chapter, the enemy is his son Avshalom, who wants to usurp his power and become the king because he feels that David does not deserve to be the king of Israel anymore because of his sins, specifically with Bathsheba, and I spoke about that in the previous video. And so there's also prophetic allusions to the Messianic era and the exile and the redemption and all that stuff. So let's see what are a few lessons that we can learn from here. Verse 7, I became an example to the masses, yet you were my mighty refuge. So King David says that the troubles that he experienced served as a lesson to others to refrain from sin so that what happened to him should not happen to them. So basically, it's the idea of cause and effect. In the Bible, it says that if we do good, God will bless us, and that if we do bad, we will have curses, such as like no rain, the land will be dry, etc. So King David says that despite his troubles, God was his mighty refuge. He was not decimated by his troubles. So David had trouble after trouble. He had people pursuing him, King Saul, his son, his enemies. He did not have an easy life. And yet, despite all of that, he never wavered in his faith in God, and he never stopped hoping for salvation and redemption. There is a lesson in here from verses 3 through 8 about miracles and about the fact that we should always strive to be better people no matter our starting point, because God judges us by our effort and not by our achievement. In fact, the word mensch, which is used to describe a good guy, in Yiddish it means one who struggles. So for example, let's just talk about good grades, for example. So somebody with a high IQ can get straight A's no problem with minimal effort. Somebody with a low IQ, what comes natural to that person might be to get C's. But if that person works really, really, really hard, maybe they can get B's. So their achievement is not as high as the person with the high IQ, who it comes naturally to without any effort, but their reward will be greater than the reward for the person with the naturally high IQ because they made such a tremendous effort to get from a C to a B. Whereas if the person who gets straight A's without any effort doesn't apply him or herself to do better than that, to reach for their potential, which is different and unique from anybody else's potential, then they will not be rewarded as much as the person who achieved less but worked harder. So it says we should not be complacent with our nature. So we all have different natures, different struggles. For some people, it's very easy to keep the Sabbath because they grew up that way and it's all that they know. For some people, it's very, very hard. So for the person who it's very easy to, they can do the commandments with increased love and intentionality instead of doing them robotically. And the person who really struggles to keep any of the commandments in the Bible, just keeping the commandments is a big enough of an effort for that person. Okay, so what else? There is something in verse 9 that teaches us. David says, my immutable bond with God should sustain me through my drought of passion. So sometimes our sentiment towards fulfilling commandments and doing acts of loving kindness, it can wax and wane, right? Maybe we're not as enthusiastic as we were when we first started trying to, become better people. Maybe in the beginning you gave a lot more charity, or you volunteered a lot more time, and then as time went on you kind of like slacked off. But we're saying that even when there's a drought in the passion and the fervor of doing acts of loving kindness, that there's still that immutable bond between God and us. In verse 11, it uses the name Elohim, and this is the name when God is concealed within creation. It is our mandate to peel back the diversions of the material world and reveal the essential godly nature of reality. So it's our job to bring out the godliness in everyone and everything. Last thing that I want to talk about comes from verse 14 of chapter 71. But as for me, I will always hope. I will add to all your praises. So it's talking about how we tend to easily forget God. And this was the theme also of the last psalm. God is basically asking us to remember him, and he will remember us, right? What comes around goes around. You get what you give. So I'm just going to read this part and we'll wrap it up. There are those who turn to God when in distress. When God then improves their lot, they praise his name, but they soon forget about him once life returns to its routine. For example, a person suffering from sickness might call out to God from the depths of his heart. And when he begins to heal, he thanks God with immense gratitude. But when he returns to full health, he no longer thinks of thanking God, since he has already forgotten his earlier troubles. King David therefore declares, "But as for me, I will always hope and yearn for God's salvation, not just when I am in distress, but in the good times as well." This is a very important lesson. "Not only will I give public thanks to him at the time of my salvation, I will continue to praise and bless his name regularly. Furthermore, I will add to all your praises beyond the praise that I had already been offering regularly." So this reminds me of a joke when somebody is looking for a parking spot and they're late to an event, and they pray out to God, "God, if you just give me a parking spot right now, I will keep the Sabbath." And then all of a sudden a parking spot opens up right in front of him. And so he says, "Just kidding, God, I got it." So, a lot of times, like, we need something and then we get it and then we forget about God. So the take-home message here is, again, to not forget God, to always pray to God whether times are good or bad, to recognize that everything is from God and that everything is for our best. It's either a lesson or a blessing, and we should always learn to find the positive in every situation, and also to elevate creation and find the godliness that's hidden within everything. We need to reveal the hidden godliness in everything. That's our important mission in life. And to, no matter where you are or where your starting point is in life, whether it's spiritually, physically, financially, just make that effort, and you will be judged on your effort and not on your achievement. Thank you so much for watching. Please comment, like, share, subscribe. I would love your feedback, and have a great day. Thanks. Bye-bye.